In too long, too right, plus line.
Making the turn brings him back toward the top of the stadium and the down ramp in the stadium.
Keeping it very tight. Amazing how tight he can keep it. You can see he's losing a little bit of the balance there on the front bumper.
His car control is awesome.
And he sets it up. And he rolls it over, but he's still on.
But he's going after it. He's going after it. Can he do it? A rollover on the final jump. The car looks totally destroyed, but he keeps it going. Colin McRae goes for the checkered flag. He doesn't do it. He takes the silver. And Travis has the gold. Oh, is that great or what?
As a 6-year-old who had only been exposed to NASCAR, motocross, supercross, and a couple Indy 500s, watching this live was absolutely insane. I started watching this event only really knowing who Travis Pastrana was. I left wanting to know everything there was to know about the sport of rally racing. In 2010, however, I saw something different. It's the same cars that were in the head-to-head race earlier in the day, but what are these heat races? And what's this Joker lap all about? A different route that all the drivers must take once in the race? Is this something that happens all the time? What is this? While under the name of the Super Rally, unbeknownst to me, this was a creative take on the sport of rallycross. Wildly popular in Europe, this was the first time it had been put to the test in front of an American audience. After the success of this event, the rally car organizers put on 3 separate demonstration rallycross events to finish out 2010. Now, despite the excitement of the X Games, rallying and rallycross had never took off in great numbers in the States. There had been the Rally America Championship that was started in 2005, and well, that's it. For 2011 though, Chip Pankrow and Brian Gale would form the Global Rallycross Championship. Over the next few years, the series would grow. Colin Dine would take over operations for GRC and make changes to generate buzz for the series, going from broadcast on ESPN to a broadcasting agreement with NBC Sports, a title sponsorship coming from Red Bull, and loads of popular drivers. Steve Arpin, Liam Doran, Formula Drift champion and stunt driver Reese Millen, BMX legend Dave Mira, Toppy Heikkinen, 2-time World Rally champion Marcus Gronholm, all-around badass crazy people Ken Block, Brian Deegan, and Travis Pastrana, former Formula 1 and NASCAR drivers Scott Speed and Nelson Piquet Jr., and my personal favorite, Tanner Faust. By the time 2017 rolled around, the series seemed to be on the rise. Team owners such as Brian Herta and Rahal Letterman Lanigan fielding Fords, along with independent team Lowenbro Motorsports, the factory Subaru team, legendary rally team Olsbergs MSE fielding Honda Civics, and the Volkswagens fielded by the Andretti Rallycross team. Yes, that Andretti, all of whom were putting together all-wheel drive cars with turbocharged 600 horsepower engines capable of going 0 to 60 in just 2 seconds. However, with the announcement of an electric series being in the works, many were wondering what that meant for these behemoths known as the GRC supercars. In due time, we get our answer. The inaugural race of the season at Memphis will be won by reigning GRC champion Scott Speed, with Andretti teammate Tanner Faust and Steve Arpin rounding out the podium. In Louisville, each heat that had a Volkswagen in the field, they came out on top. In the semifinals, Scott Speed would take the victory in semifinal A, with Tanner Faust earning the win in semifinal B. Leading into the final, the skies opened and rain settled in. What followed was the greatest race in Red Bull Global Rallycross history.
In Louisville, it's time to bring the action. Scott Speed with a brilliant launch from the inside, that red VW. Tanner Faust goes door-to-door with his teammate though. Desperate to get a main event win, and here come the Hondas.
Wow, look at Tanner Faust hanging to the outside. They're side by side. Now he's going to try to tuck in. No, he stays door-to-door with Scott Speed.
Wet, greasy, slippery, and we've lost a couple wide. Here comes the first Honda. And Faust on the inside of Scott Speed. Does that force him to take the Joker like you can't on the opening lap? So he tucks back in and has lost 4 positions.
Scott Speed back in 5th. Tanner Faust is now trying to push up the inside. How does he see? Look at that. He goes inside Ericsson. Faust takes the lead but runs wide. Now Ericsson has another run.
Sebastian Ericsson it is. Now the 2 Ericssons in this race, no relation whatsoever. Faust around the outside and almost into the wall.
Fantastic battle here. Tanner sideways there.
Look at this, the top two take the Joker lap. There's signboards flying, there's cars going everywhere. Cabot Bingham is off at the back, and new leader is
Into the back of Steve Arpin, gets him sideways. Arpin holds the position. Now here comes Tanner Faust. Where is he going to come out?
He's got it, has he? Into the side, and he almost spins up and goes wide. They collect each other. Watch for the Honda on the inside.
Unbelievable. Here goes Tanner Faust again around the outside.
This is an epic final, and it's only lap 4 of 10. We're not even halfway through yet.
On his bumper right there. You're going to get a both on it.
Radio call was on his bumper. Get them both. Harper does get on the inside and gets the drive.
Whoa! Tanner Faust, the drift master, slots it right in between the two.
And here goes Scott Speed in the background, the championship leader. Takes the Joker lap. Does that put him in front? Is it enough? Oh, tucks back in behind Harper ahead of Ericsson.
How did Scott Speed make up all that ground in one lap? He is now a contender.
Though he didn't want to take his teammate out. Harper and Ericsson side by side over the 70-foot jump.
This is some of the best GRC racing I've ever seen. This Louisville track is unbelievable. Ericsson does the crossover, goes to the front.
By the Canadian and Scott Speed, the former F1 and NASCAR driver. Two-time and reigning champion. It's not over for Speed, and it's not over for Harper either. The racing in Kentucky, and it has been memorable. Here comes Faust now, tries to do the over and under and just clipped the back of Scott Speed. Steve Arpin has been the chaser. He's been hunted, and he's been doing some hunting. I think now he's more in defensive mode of Scott Speed.
Ooh, Ericsson got wide there. Arpin might have a chance to close in the last corner.
Is there one last nudge? Is there one last hit? Arpin tries to move Ericsson, and he does. This is going to be a drag race to the line. Who is going to get it? Ericsson to the right, Arpin on the inside. Oh, I think Ericsson.
That has to be one of the closest finishes, if not the closest in GRC history.
Sebastian Ericsson earned the first win for Honda in GRC, while Scott Speed narrowly increased his championship lead over Tanner Faust. The next event would take the series to Thompson Speedway in Connecticut for the first of 4 doubleheaders this season. Tanner Faust would take home the win in the final over Speed, with Olsbergs MSE driver Mitchell DeYoung in third. The second round in New England would be won by Steve Arpin and Global Motorsports, with Scott Speed finishing second again. The series would make their first trip to Canada for another doubleheader, where Canadian Steve Arpin would earn his second straight victory in the first round over Mitchell DeYoung and Tanner Faust, allowing Faust to gain valuable points over his Andretti teammate Speed, who failed to start. That points total would increase in the second leg of the Ottawa doubleheader, as Faust would take home the victory over Speed and DeYoung. At this point, everyone was wondering what happened to Scott Speed. He has dominated this series for the past 2 seasons, and heading into the 7th round of the season, he has only won once. Was his reign over the series in jeopardy? Not at all. Speed would then rattle off 3 consecutive victories, once at IRP and then sweeping the doubleheader at Atlantic City. Atlantic City didn't treat his Volkswagen teammate well. His title hopes were now very much in jeopardy. With only 3 rounds left in the season, Faust would have to win every race and hope for Speed to have some bad luck. Tanner would hold up his end, sweeping the final doubleheader event of the season at Evergreen Speedway and winning the final round in Los Angeles. However, finishing just behind him in the final 3 races in second was Scott Speed, securing his 3rd straight series championship. On the surface, many people expected 2018 to be another great GRC season. Behind the scenes, however, nothing could be further from that. Many dominoes would fall and lead to this series of unfortunate events in 2018. For starters, we have to go back to 2015. For years, the racing in Global Rallycross was never an issue. Fully factory-backed teams fielding the supercars, and a great field of GRC lights. A spec series with cars built by Olsbergs MSE, and modeled after the Ford Fiesta. This series allowed such drivers as Mitchell DeYoung, Cabot Bingham, Cyril Raymond, Connor Martell, and Austin Cindric to come up through the ranks and hone their craft. The cars, the sponsors, the drivers, the TV package. All of this allowed for Red Bull Global Rallycross to have the youngest demographic for a major motorsports series. But throughout the next 2 seasons, cracks in the foundation would begin to show, for both GRC and its CEO Colin Dine. Ford and Honda would reduce their factory support, leaving only Volkswagen and Subaru as the only factory teams. Many fans and media members were skeptical of the upcoming electric spec series in production. A spec series could be feasible, case in point the GRC lights, although it's a support series for their main attraction, the supercars. An electric spec series could be feasible as well, but in Rallycross, it would be a hard sell to be the main attraction. In Rallycross, the cars sell just as much, if not more tickets than the drivers. A spec series as the headliner just isn't what Rallycross fans tune in for. On February 27, 2018, GRC made it official. The supercars were gone, and their replacement would be the GRC Gold Class, a car with more aggressive bodywork and some mechanical updates, designed to, quote, tighten up the field, highlight the skills of the drivers, and make for an incredible show for on-site spectators and broadcast viewers alike. "We are giving the sport of Rallycross back to the drivers with the Gold Class," said Colin Dine. "By creating a more closely matched generation of top-tier Rallycross vehicles, the Gold Class will provide a platform where our drivers can highlight their driving skills and create even more dynamic racing for the fans." As a 17-year-old at the time, I was pissed. The fact that the GRC was killing off the supercars and it was downplayed to this extent, it struck a nerve with me. It also struck a nerve with Rallycross fans all across America. A spec series being the headliner wasn't the only kicker in this announcement. In 2019, GRC had plans to introduce a, quote, new purpose-built Rallycross car known as the Platinum Class. The headliner for 2019 would be an electric spec series. Along with this, rumors were beginning to spread like wildfire that the GRC were leaving behind a trail of unpaid bills. Many of said rumors would later be confirmed, and another domino would fall. The organizers from the GRC event in Ottawa was owed $20,000. Thompson Speedway were owed $29,000 in unpaid revenue, and Michigan state officials were threatening legal action if the GRC didn't pay their $76,000 debt from their 2016 event in Belle Isle. Thompson Speedway owner Joe Honig was the most outspoken. They have a reputation of not paying their bills and taking advantage of smaller facilities like ours. It's not so much about the money they still owe us, but the opportunity we lost to open the track to other customers. We trusted them because of their initial reputation and their partnership with Red Bull. We thought they were reputable. The tracks weren't the only ones missing out on money. Vendors working with the series and even drivers were claimed to have not received payments from GRC. Scott Speed, unpaid. Steve Arpin, unpaid. United Rentals, Sun State Rentals, and Gettable, all unpaid. Even before the announcement of the Gold Class, only 2 supercars teams were confirmed to be running in 2018. One was Subaru Rally Team USA. The rest of the teams had confirmed plans to run in the new America's Rallycross series put on by FIA World Rallycross organizers, IMG. Subaru would then pull out of the GRC, leading to GRC filing a lawsuit, revealing unfortunate details regarding the GRC's finances and unpaid debts. Less than 2 months after the announcement of the Gold Class, Red Bull Global Rallycross would be dead. Lancaster Speedway, which had a scheduled date to host a GRC event in June, was informed by GRC management that they had ceased operations for 2018. No Gold Class, no Platinum Class, and no more Global Rallycross. I wish I could say that this story has a happy ending, with the America's Rallycross series, or ARX, still going strong today. However, ARX faced problems right out of the gate. The decision to form America's Rallycross was a rushed one. When the series was announced, there was no schedule, no TV deal, and they had to deal with the repercussions of GRC's implosion. In the words of Stephen Cole Smith from AutoWeb, it would take a great deal of convincing to separate the Red Bull GRC from the soundly backed ARX. Many thought Rallycross is Rallycross, and Rallycross owed a lot of people money in America. The 2018 schedule was minimal with only 4 rounds, and understandably so. The first round at the Speed Machine Festival in England looked to be a tremendous success. When Scott Speed stepped out of the garage, he looked around at the festival atmosphere and said, quote, "I've now seen the future of Rallycross in America." Unfortunately, he couldn't have been more wrong. Speed would go on to win his 4th consecutive Rallycross Championship. Tanner Faust would fight an uphill battle in 2019. Many thought Volkswagen were pulling out altogether after Scott Speed left to join Subaru. After putting together enough backing from Volkswagen and sponsorship money to keep the Andretti team afloat, Tanner Faust would win the 2019 championship. And then, it was over. IMG made the decision to discontinue ARX. As a viewer, it was obvious that IMG lost any interest in promoting Rallycross in America. They did the bare minimum for promotion, and with no TV deal, it was very much just running under the radar. Travis Pastrana's Nitro Rallycross picked up the pieces in 2021 and tried again to make Rallycross succeed in America. The series eventually was renamed to Nitrocross, as it wasn't really a traditional form of Rallycross. The 600 horsepower Rallycross cars would be swapped out in favor of 1,000 horsepower electric spec cars, and by 2025, Nitrocross seemingly suffered the same fate as ARX and GRC before it. As of this recording, there is no major Rallycross series in the US, and considering where we were just 10 years ago, it's crazy to even think that this is no more. Will there be another Rallycross series in the US? Who knows? As was said by the band Cinderella, don't know what you got till it's gone. A motorsport you love so dearly can be gone just as quickly as it took you to fall in love with it.